Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Malty Monday. We're going to be featuring Lambics tonight. It is a type of a Belgian sour. So first off, I'm going to go through who we have in the panel. So just straight across, down to the left, like I did last time. We have Drunken One right beside me. We have John and Nelly, Georgia Beer Reviews, right beside him. Hello, John. We have Thomas Middle 75, aka Eric.
What's up, family?
And then we go over to CBP and Keep Sippin, Ghostin. Yep. She's here.
Keep going.
Baby duty.
And then we have tonight another very special guest, Bear Man.
Woo! Yeah,
sweet. So what I want to do is just get this started off with kind of going over the style of based off this BJCP, and then we'll get into tasting the beers, the more important part of it all. But I just want to get through some history and stuff in case folks don't know what the Lambic is and a little bit of the history. So let me see if I can remember how to do this. I got to share screen. Close the it out. Application window. Did I have this open? Oh, there it is. No, it keeps flipping back. Okay. I'm just going to share it anyways. Chrome tab, maybe that will work. There we go. There we go. Figure this one out. Okay.
Boom.
Boom. There we go. So the Lambic overall impression, I actually can't read that, so I have to bring it up. So it says fairly sour, often moderately funky wild Belgian wheat beer with sourness, taking the place of hot bitterness in the balance, traditionally spontaneously fermented in the Brussels area and served uncarbonated. The refreshing acidity makes for a very pleasant cafe drink. The appearances of, now this is a straight up Lambic, so I'm just going to go over the fruited one afterwards, going through this, but it's basically the same. So the pale yellow to deep golden color. Age tends to darken the beer. Clarity is hazy to good. Younger versions are often cloudy, while older ones are generally clear. White-colored head generally has poor retention.
All right.
Now, the aromas are decidedly sour aroma, is often dominant in young examples, but may become more subdued with age as it blends with aromas described as barnyard, earthy, goaty, hay, horsey, and horse blanket. Don't get afraid, Brandon, because you have the fruited kind. So a mild citrus fruity aroma is considered favorable. An eccentric smoky cigar-like or cheesy aroma is unfavorable. Older versions are commonly fruity with aromas of apples or even honey. No hop aroma. Flavors, young examples are often noticeably lactic sour, but aging can bring this character more in balance with malt, wheat, and barnyard characteristics. Fruity flavors are simpler in younger lambics and more complex in the older examples. We'll go through all the other stuff. You can skip over the mouthfeel. Comments, straight lambics are single batch unblended beers. Since they are unblended, the straight lambic is often a true product of the house character of a brewery and will be more variable than a goose or a goose. Or a goose.
I've heard it pronounced Guiza. I'm going with Guiza. Why not?
They are generally served young, 6 months, and on tap as cheap, easy drinking beers without any filling carbonation. Younger versions tend to be one-dimensionally sour, since a complex Brett character often takes an upwards of a year to develop. An enteric character is often indicative of a lambic that is too young. A noticeably vinegary or cidery character is considered a fault by Belgian brewers. History: spontaneously fermented wild ales from the area and around Brussels. The Seine Valley stemmed from a farmhouse brewing tradition several centuries old. The number of producers is constantly dwindling. Goes over some of the characteristic ingredients. We don't really need that. Commercial examples. The only bottled version readily available is Centillion Grand Cru, Brascala, or whatever single batch vintage. But the ones that we are actually drinking tonight, I think most of us at least have a fruited one. Basically, the fruited
they got different
versions
names
are they're a blend. So they actually take a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, and a 3-year-old lambic. They blend them together, and then they also add fruit in between. Lambics.
You can get some of the lambics, which are called Creek or Framboise, which the Framboise is a raspberry version. I don't know that necessarily has to be a blended of different ages. And the Creek is
that's what it says in the BJCP.
All right,
guidelines
because you get really like 4 different kinds. You can get just an unaged lambic. Yeah. You can get what they call the Guisa, which is a combination of young and older aged lambics. You can get that fruit lambics like you're talking about. And then there's a Faro, which is I think an unaged lambic that uses Belgian candied sugar. So there's a lot of things underneath the definition of lambic that would probably meet the criteria in the BJCP of lambic. So there you go, people. We could have variations of lambics throughout the panel.
We do.
Okay.
And we're going to start off with saying cheers to the chat. Cheers. Thank you guys for coming in. Cheers, Middle Fruit. Beerman, you're here. Cheers to Kent.
Hello.
Hey.
Craig.
Keep sipping. I'm going to actually drop the link in the chat. So if there is anybody that's not in our little hangout groups that cannot get the StreamYard's link, it will be now in the chat. So if you do have a lambic and you want to join up, we can rotate through who's on the panel. But to go ahead and start this one off, we have drunken one. So if you want to present your lambic, you can talk about it. You can do a little smell tasting. And we'll go back to the scoring afterwards.
Thank you so much. All right. So I got, and I was advised by my brother John Anile, because I have no idea what sours are about. I've heard once upon a time, either you'll love them or you hate them. I tried one once upon a time. I forgot what kind it was. I don't know what manufacturer it was, but I didn't hate it. So I'm open-minded to this, and I'm willing to try most anything. He said Linderman's. He said if there's one you're going to find out there everywhere, it's going to be this particular brand, Linderman's. This kind is the Crike, or however you pronounce it. That means it's done with cherries. There were several other. There's like five or six different flavors. One was totally sold out, so that's got me interested. Either it's feast or famine. But anyway, so this is the first time trying out the Linderman's Crike, and it's supposed to be cherry flavored and natural fermentation, which I'm sure maybe Jessica get back into it. As a home brewer, that's spooky to me. When you brew your beer, you want to close it up and give it only your yeast. This is all brewed. This is all top fermented, and it's just yeast that's in the air. You know, it's spontaneous fermentation. So as a home brewer, it's kind of scary. It's going to be good, though, I think. So that's what I got. And I'm going to pour it into this. I don't know if it's fitting or not. I'm going to pour it into this tall, narrow glass. Cheers. Oh, yeah, 3.5%, if that means anything. And I don't know. He said the IBUs or the color SRM thing. Well, yeah. All right, I'm sorry.
And now present you.
Huh?
And not remove you. You want to go ahead and crack it open and go through your tasting?
Okay. Well, I got to make it through the foil.
It might have a little tab on there.
Opener and pop it open. You don't need to
just crack it open.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Just straight to the foil and all this good stuff. Well, see, mine's not classy like CBP over there. He's got. Oh, it does have a quirk, boys.
Oh my God!
Give me a second.
Right.
I got it in hand. All right. I had
good. Okay, you're prepared.
All right. I had no idea. Who'd have thought? All right. So here we go. I didn't realize it was going to be like this. I got a better bottle there. Is it easier to spin the bottle or the corkscrew? All right.
You tell us.
That'd be awesome. It's $5. Right around $5 for this one, and it is a 3.5% ABV. All right, we're about to work these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't break it. Don't
Here's your
break
daddy.
it.
Oh, no, I got it. I've seen it done once in a commercial.
There you go.
Ooh, that's a weird smell. Okay, this is gonna be thing. Red flag. All right. Anyway, okay, so the pour. Let's get a smell to it. All right. You see what I'm doing? All right.
I hope you clean that glass, Drunken.
I did. I put denture tablets in it. I put denture tablets. Wow, it pours with a great big head. I'm not really good with colors, but you can say kind of pinkish on the top. Whoa, it's dark in here, but it does have a red hue to it.
Yeah.
It does have a red type hue to it. Again, pardon the lighting in here, but okay, so you get the idea there. Wow, it looks like it's very clear. It doesn't look hazy at all, but it looks like you're invested. I'm seeing some bubbles rolling up through it. Yummy, yum. Okay, so is that where do I sip now, or what are we doing?
Yeah, go. I figured we'd do kind of what we did last time. Like I said, if it doesn't end up working this way, and we want to like break it up a bit more, we can end up doing that in the future. But right now, if you want to do the smells, and then just drink it, and then think about your score for later on, come back around.
I'm not good. My never don't work so good. Y'all know that bit already. It does smell like cherry. Yeah, it smells like cherry. So we'll give it a try. Ooh. Wow, yeah, it's sweet and tart, and it's not unpleasant. It's it's sweet and tart. Tastes a lot like cherries. Doesn't really resemble beer like I'm used to, but it's like wine almost. It's like beer wine something. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm not hating it. Yeah, I'm gonna dig it. I guess we'll go from there. I mean, I'm terrible with descriptors. It's sweet. It's thick. It's very viscous. It's good. It's all right. That's all right. Oh no!
So are you good? Are you good with that?
I'm good with it. Yeah, I'm feeling all right with it. Yeah, we can move along. No, I'm not hating it. It's definitely interesting. My wife said she wanted to try some, and she's not a beer drinker. But I told her this it's supposed to be pretty nice, and so I'm gonna go give her a little bite of it, see what she thinks of it. It's not terrible. I like it. So far, so good.
With that, we'll bring up John and Nelly, and he can go over what he has. And I'll take off the other thing.
A fruit tree, Jacob Downey. What?
Well, all right. So I don't have that. I have. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. There it is. All right. I've got the Troc Framboise Lambic out of BuMpY, Belgium, which is it's from the Pajottenland region in southwest Brussels, which everybody knows the area. There you go. So 3.5% alcohol, Framboise, it's raspberry. So this is a raspberry Lambic. Never had it before. I have had the Lindemans Framboise, which I thought was really good, actually. And speaking of Lindemans, I have my Lindemans glass that I hardly ever get to use. So I'm going to pour my Lambic in this Lambic style fancy glass so it can be all official. Try to
hopefully it doesn't blow over the top, because sometimes these are very highly carbonated.
All right. This one is fine. Real quick, it does say that this Lambic, they do use the spontaneous fermentation. The wort is cooled in a shallow open air vat, which exposes the brew to microorganisms, giving it its unique flavor. After this process, it is further aged in casks for at least a year, completing the spontaneous fermentation process. Okay. Let's give it a pour.
Good looking here.
I feel fancy. I feel so fancy with this glass. All right. have to pinky out with this one.
Yes.
So, oh man, the aroma, this is really good. You're getting the raspberries. It's got that funk to it that you get with sours and even saisons. It's got like a funky yeast thing going on, which obviously if you're doing the spontaneous fermentation, you know, one thing about spontaneous fermentation that I think is misunderstood is that, oh, you can get anything in there. Well, even though it is spontaneous fermentation, it's spontaneous fermentation within a controlled environment. So there's only so much that you're going to get. It's not like you're going to get some strange bacteria from wherever that's infecting the beer. It is somewhat controlled. So the appearance is kind of a reddish pink, pretty clear, which, sorry for the glare, but it is very clear. There's no chunks or anything like that floating around. Some nice streaming bubbles going up the glass. So it does have some nice carbonation to it, at least from the appearance, the head. It's hard to get a gauge on it with this glass, but it did pour with like a 2-finger head, and it's kind of sticking around. 1-finger head is sticking around. A very, very, very light pink head. And like I said, the aroma, you're getting the raspberries, you're getting that funky yeast thing. A little bit of, it smells like it's going to be pretty sour, actually. Yeah. It smells really good. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in here. Cheers, guys.
Cheers to John.
Cheers.
Nice. Cheers.
Pretty good.
Whoa. Yes. Raspberry, the sourness that you would get with like a sour ale.
Yeah.
Because raspberries are tart, but they're not full-on sour. This is almost a full-on sour beer, which I think it has a lot to do with that spontaneous fermentation. It's got that funkiness to it that you get with a lot of sours and even like into the saison. Not like a horse blanket or anything weird like that, but it does have like a funkiness to it. It's not cheesy or cigar-like, so it has no off flavors like the BJCP guidelines discuss off flavors with this style. It doesn't have anything like that. It's spot on for the style, and this is a true lambic because it's brewed very in the southwest part of Brussels. Man, this is good, and it's super easy drinking, light-bodied. I mean, 3.5%. It's like sour fruit juice almost.
Yeah.
But in a good way. I mean, it's not bad. Because this isn't a traditional beer. Like I've had a lot of, like I've had raspberry sours. This is a raspberry flavored sour-like beer. It doesn't have the breadiness that you get with raspberry sour because it doesn't have like the wheat malt or, you know, whatever other malts are used in those types of beers. So it's very juicy. It's very sour. It's very funky. And it's very delicious. I'll keep sipping on it and think of a rating. I think it follows the style guidelines very well. And I think that if you're looking for a true lambic, then the De Troc Framboise lambic would be an excellent one to try. And that's it.
Well, true Framboise, yes.
Fantastic. I think that we have scared Trish. She likes to hear the words saison and stuff like that.
Yeah. You gotta try everything, man. Come on. How do you know if you don't like it?
Never mind it, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, cheers to the chat. Once again, we got Jacob Downey, Kev Mitchell joining us. Middle Fruit still hanging around. So awesome that we have you guys going through, and I am just popping them up now on the screen. I'm remembering slight little things that people told me to do last time. So just popping them up on the screen as we go through the chat here. So right now I'm going to bring up Thomas Metal.
All right.
And Middle Fruit wants to know, can one of you see if there's yeast sediment in the bottom of the bottles?
Yeah, mine. If you pull me up, look at that. It's all in my glass.
All right. Oh, wow. I guess so.
Globe.
Right.
Wow. Which mine is crystal clear, so that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe you disturbed the yeast more than I did with mine,
No.
but I don't see anything.
I'm not a fan, so it's not going to bother me. So I have the same beer as Beer Man, so probably he would be a great one to go next. Again, this is the Fond Tradition or Tradition. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced. It's a Guisa Lambic. So they're aging. So they're blending a young unaged lambic with an older aged lambic. Their website from the Brouwery van Hoosenbroek does not make any specifications on how old any of these beers are. They are 5% alcohol by volume. So there's that for the style. I have a little bit left in the bottle. I'm going to see if I can even agitate a little bit of a head before I get all too much sediment in there. It really, when I put that beer in the, when I put the beer in the glass, the head fizzled away like Coca-Cola. It was kind of disappointing on that. But yeah, it looks like dirty water, I guess. It's got a nice, but it does have a really good copper color, but I should have agitated the yeast way more, but I'm not going to. The nose on this one is got a little bit of that lime or lemon juice, a little bit of like a vinegary kind of a note to it, a little bit of a caramel malty sweetness to it. There's a toasty, white, bready, almost like a Pilsner maltiness to it. And it's got that really tart note of the vinegar and the lemon juice. That's the biggest kind of a note with it, with a nice toasty malt character. So, yeah, it does smell pretty refreshing. Cheers.
Cheers.
And cheers. The bottle said 54 degrees Fahrenheit for serving. So I had bought it on the beer shelf. It was not cold. I put it in the refrigerator maybe for 30, 45 minutes and took it out. So I think it's a good temperature. It's actually got a little bit of a creamy, smooth mouthfeel. Probably middle fruit is right. We seem to all have a lot of high amount of carbonation to our lambic style beers. Mine's pretty prickly, I'm not going to lie. But it is going down quite smooth. It's a medium style bodied beer. It is pretty dry for what it is. And actually, it is really refreshing. It's only 5%. I'm noticing a little bit of a chewy, sticky mouthfeel, not too bad. I am getting all of the woodsy, earthy, I guess the cigar-like thing, the tobacco thing is kind of in there a little bit, kind of horse blanket, kind of dried leaves, if that makes any sense, just kind of earthy, grassy notes to it. So pretty good, not overly sour, but I think if you don't really like sours, maybe this won't be your style. And if you do like sour beers, this could actually be really good in the summertime or when it's warmer out, I guess, because it does drink well. But you would probably chill this down or lower than 54. But so far, so good. Wonder what Beer Man thinks of it.
Yeah, that's weird that we picked the same one.
Yeah.
And yeah. I would go. Okay, they are. Are you guys ready? Brandon and Trish?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, bring you guys up. You can talk about yours, and I hope that you actually like this. Fingers crossed.
So we got the Boon Framboise, however the hell you say it. So this one is 5% alcohol, and this is a traditional Belgian lambic, 100% spontaneously fermented ale, aged 2 years in oak vats, brewed in Lambic, the village that gave Lambic its name. So this is bottled by the Boon Brewery out of Lambic, Belgium.
Nice.
So I guess this is the real deal here. Well, that's the bottle there. Never had a Lambic before. Not a huge fan of sours. I'm doing this for my good friend Bumpy Road. So this is going to pop the top here. We got our tulip glasses.
Trish looks very excited.
Rad.
Right? There is.
I feel like there wasn't much head, but there's a lot of carbonation going on in there.
That was Kev's assessment that he's never had a sour beer that's had much head to begin with.
Yeah, I feel like ours definitely didn't have. There is a lot of carbonation.
Holy, fruity.
Yeah, very tart smelling.
So this says traditional lambic. Let's see.
This is raspberry.
Fermented with raspberries.
You definitely get that tart raspberry smell.
Big time. It's like a raspberry.
That's pretty much the smell.
But I can get the sour going on in there as well.
Ours wasn't
Smells
like
delicious.
John and Ellie's color though. I feel like ours is a little bit more
Darker.
Y'all's, yeah, it's a little more dark red than mine. Mine was almost, yeah.
It's almost like a thick looking.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah, we don't go too in depth. We're not professional examiners over here.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's definitely more of a sour than like the Belgium.
than I thought it
Yeah.
was gonna be. It's very sweet with some tardiness on there. Tarty, whatever.
Tardiness.
Very sweet though.
It's tarty.
It's not too it's not too sour to me.
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
I'm actually very impressed. First, it's very smooth.
Very heavy on the raspberry.
I think it has a thick mouthfeel. It's definitely very tart, very raspberry, but it's like a tart, smooth mix. I'm not picking up on any funky, hay, Belgium, Saison flavors at all. Like this to me is just, it's a sour, but almost a sweeter sour.
Yeah. Definitely got a dryness to it on the palate as well.
Yeah.
Dry finish.
Yeah, it makes you thirsty.
Not bad. Better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that is our assessment.
That's ours. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you guys at least like it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah,
That's not too shabby.
Well, let me say this. Hey, Trish would not like this one because this. So I'm glad you got the one that you got.
Yeah,
because
you're
it-
and some of them, that was something else that was actually in the BJCP thing about the fruited lambics. Is there are some companies, I think Lenderman's is one of them. I'm not sure about the Boone one, but they do back sweeten because they found that would make it more palatable to more people. Add a little bit of extra
So,
sweetness.
yeah, exactly. I asked my beer guy, and I'm like, you know, my friend's doing this. I don't particularly like these flavors. I'm really, you know, afraid I'm going to hate it. He said, go for this one because they add a little bit more sweetness to it when they make it. So
Right.
he did actually touch on what you're talking about.
Nice. And now we go to Beerman, who's now going to confirm what Thomas Metal said.
Yeah.
Sour time. The beer man.
Thinking alike here. Yeah, I got the same one as Thomas there. I guess it's, you can pronounce it any way you want, but Goose Lambic is always what I've thought it was called. But St. Louis Lambic Beers, Fond Tradition, Goose Lambic, unfiltered Belgian ale at 5%. They're out of Inglemunster, Belgium.
Yup. Love that name, Inglemunster.
I do too. That's kind of cool. It's got a cool black kind of fancy cap thing going on here. I'm gonna rip it off.
Yeah.
Oh, my thing doesn't fit around, dude. I need a lighter.
It's a bit bigger cap, isn't it? Yeah, I noticed that myself. Yeah, that was a bit larger. Yeah. Did anybody? Oh, yeah, you had yours.
Yeah.
Using a.
This is the only glass I could find.
Nice. That's a perfect glass for that.
Perfect.
Why not? I'll see if he gets any. Let's see if he gets any head that sticks around. Mine fizzed away like Coca-Cola.
Is mine the only one that had a cap and a cork?
I think so.
Eric, his looks a lot clearer than yours. I don't see any crazy sediment floating around in his.
Yeah. What the hell, man? You got the good beer.
About a finger and a quarter. I'm not gonna twirl this. I get kind of a cidery, almost even a breadiness coming out of this.
I can buy that. Yeah.
A little caramel, slight, a little like Venice, like winey kind of. I don't know if that's the right word to.
I agree with you on that.
I don't have any. No horse blanket, no barnyard funkiness. It actually smells pretty good, kind of cidery. I kind of like that.
Yours is way clearer than the one I just poured, and it's the same damn beer.
Is it really? Was yours clearer?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's got an amber color to it. I mean, there's definitely an amber color. There's a white head. It's already, the retention's gone down big time as predicted. I mean, that's just how these are, right? I mean, sours, their retention's not very good. It's pretty turbid inside, like or not turbid. It's pretty accelerated. What's the word that I'm looking for here?
Effervescent.
Effervescence. There you go.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. So fast rising bubble. Real nice. Let's taste it.
Cheers.
Stingy on the tip with some bubbles. It is tart in the back, and the finish is very tart. It goes on tart all the way through on the palate, on the tongue. Tart, tart, tart. You do get a little bit of like Venice, like grapey wine kind of flavors. A little cider coming out. A lot of sour tartness, kind of an astringent puckeriness in a way. Very dry on the tongue and dry in the back.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is.
It's not bad though. It's not bad. It's very tolerable and palatable. I can handle it. I could probably drink a few of these and it'd be fine. Totally. Yeah. That's really all I have to say. It's pretty good.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah,
I didn't even think of the apple cider thing, but yeah, definitely. I almost was thinking like there could be like a little tiny bit of like an orange citrusy thing, but maybe my mind's playing tricks on me on that one.
Little orange, yeah. I do get a little orange
when it dries a little bit, yeah. But yeah, now you can see mine is that clear. Yours is not as sediment rich. Wow.
Yours is rich, definitely.
Wow. The bottom of the bottle is. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. It is.
Yeah, somebody asked a question earlier about the bottom. You're not going to be able to see it from there, but there's a ton of yeast caked up around the ring, the outside ring and glass. I didn't disturb mine too much, so I didn't get any sediment or anything in mine. But you could always, if you wanted that, you could shake it up and then kind of get that effect. A lot of people like those chunks in there. I'm not necessarily one of them.
There's no barrel middle fruit, Paul. There's no barrel flavors. I don't get a barrel. If it is, it's very slight. Definitely natural taste, though. Very nice and earthy, I guess.
I think it would be a good beer in the summertime. I do.
Yeah, definitely a summer beer. Oh God, yeah.
Even though they say drink it at 54 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
There's zero sediment in mine, so
yeah, me neither. Yeah, nothing about it.
What happened to my beer? I wasn't careful. Oh well, it's okay.
Right. So I'll bring mine up. I'll do mine real quick. We'll chit chat with the chat. Go over our scores after that. So here I am. What I have is gonna find it. Where did I put it? Oh, I don't think I put mine in.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, well, what it is from Allagash Brewing Company. They're out of Portland, Maine. I have their Cool Ship. Peach. It's peach. Whatever. Comes in at 6.8% ABV. And it is aged in French oak barrels for 2 years.
Fancy.
Mine is actually the only one that's not a traditional Lambic because it's not brewed in Brussels, Belgium. So it did have a nice cork and cage. So I took the cage off already, and go ahead and I'm sure this thing's going to explode.
Get ready.
Go back just a little bit.
Get ready. Don't do that. What? Wow. Whoa.
Right.
He's going nuts, folks. Under the piece.
And now there's a hole in the BuMpy ceiling.
That's right. Oh, actually it's leaking.
There's a hole in the BuMpy ceiling. That looks like a good lager beer. What?
Yeah,
so
that's actually the lightest of the Lambic. lighter than the other ones so far.
Oh yeah.
Very light. Had a nice tight white bubbled head that just fizzed away. Coloration is a deep gold. It has a little bit of a haziness to it.
Nice.
The aromas do get a lot of the kind of sour notes, the tartness, a little bit of that like farmhouse type deal going on. Some oak. I'm definitely picking up on oak.
Really? Okay. I think you're the only one that said that so far. With the oak.
Well, this was for 2 years in oak barrels,
In the
so
barrels.
French oak
Yeah.
barrels.
I'm not able to detect peach in the nose, which I'm not sad about. But yeah, it smells almost kind of saison-y, but a little bit more on the tartar sour side. So let's go ahead for the first swig. Cheers.
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 Yeah, it's got a pretty big sour bite to it.
Wow.
We can tell.
Nice.
There's the oak is definitely in the flavor. A little bit of that peach character is coming through now. Sour tart, extremely drying, which I like in sour type beers.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know what to think.
A little bit of that kind of farmhouse type. It's like a bit of a saison, but like a lot more pucker action going on. So carbonation, I'm going to say it's very fizzy, but it's probably not even reaching really the high carbonation level. It's just kind of in like the medium to high medium carbonation.
Right.
All right. Well, that's that for this one.
Little
Back to
too
the
sour.
scoring afterwards. Let me take myself off. What's that, Eric?
Is it a little bit too sour for your palate?
No, it's not too sour for my palate. I just I was expecting a little bit more sweetness with this, but it's definitely you get the oak and the sourness is like the main characters. Peach kind of comes up afterwards with that kind of saison farmhouse barnyard horse blanket type thing going on. So overall, it's not bad. It's just I was expecting a little bit of sweetness because that's the lambics that I've always had were the Lindemans, which I said they'd probably do back sweeten those ones. All right, so chat, we got Middle Fruit still hanging with us. Where'd I leave off? Middle Fruit says, thanks. Thought maybe you were picking up some tannins from the wood. Cool concept, guys. Love the idea. Thank you, Miscellaneous Magnets. Beerman loves the magnets.
Yeah.
Oh, love this magnets. Thank you, Jacob. It was cool. Oh yeah, I set up a dartboard in the Pop and Corks app. And I have one on the ceiling. Yes. All right.
All right.
We should find a small brewer to bottle with champagne corks, then sell 6 packs with a stick up dartboard. Okay. You can work on that, Jacob, because you are the one that creates things.
Right.
It's funny.
So we can go back through the scoring now. If we can I'll just leave it like this, and we can just run over to Drunken One, and you can kind of just
I'm ready.
how you feel about it.
Second time ever trying a sour. This is pretty damn awesome, if you ask me. You say it's back sweetened. I don't know how they usually go, but this is definitely sweet. It does have that tart. It's got some nice glass lacing, which I didn't really think. I didn't know anything about it, but yeah, it's got some nice glass lacing. It does hold a head just a little bit. This particular kind does. I just poured a little bit more in there. But yeah, I'm very pleased with it. I don't know how to judge it to other sours. but this has been a great experience, and I would try more sours, knowing that this is kind of what they're about. A little low in the ABV, but we're not here to get drunk necessarily. We're here to try good beers. I like it a lot. Again, I don't know how it compares to other sours. For my drinking pleasure, I'll give it a 95. I really think this. It's interesting. It's very sweet, but then it's got that little bitter, And I would show it off to friends. My wife liked it, and she doesn't drink beer. My wife didn't give it a yuck face, and she tried it. Matter of fact, she got a second sip of it even, and she seemed to enjoy it also. So yeah, I'd go with a 95. Again, I don't know how it compares to others, if this is a really good style or brand or whatever, but this is one that John said that, hey, check it out. This is a kind of an entry level one. Sweet and sour, awesome beer. 95. Burp. Oh yeah. Burp.
Bam. What do you think, John?
Go ahead, John.
All right. Well, I've had the Lindemans. I've had every single variety they have. I've had the peach. I've had the apple. I've had the raspberry framboise, and then I've had the Greek, which is cherry. This one here blows the Lindemans away, in my opinion. It was $8.99 a bottle, so not super cheap. I don't know. Let's see. This is it's one. I'm sure it's a weird.
Mine's a 12.7.
12.7 ounces.
Yeah,
so,
that's what mine is too.
So yeah, but this is the best lambic I've ever had. It's sweet, it's tart, it's funky, it's fruity, it's everything I could possibly want from a beer like this. It follows the guidelines to a T. There's nothing off about it. I wasn't gonna give it. I would have never expected to give it this high of a rating, but I gotta call it like I see it, and I'm gonna give it a 98 out of 100. I think it's freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
And it's gone. I drank. It's gone. I don't even have any left to give a final shot or whatever. It was that good. 98.
Good score.
Nice. Mr. Thomas.
I'm wondering if on the particular bottle that I poured into the glass, if it is just older than the one that Beerman's got, if he cared for it a little bit more, a little bit better than I did. I mean, I literally just bought this off the shelf and poured it in here. Didn't really give any regard for how I poured it into the glass. Normally I do. So you get all of this sediment in it, but it doesn't. That aspect doesn't bother me. And Beerman was right. I'm getting a lot of like an appley tartness and a cidery kind of a note to it. And I actually thought that it had a little bit of a creamy kind of a texture to it. So that's kind of cool. I didn't necessarily think of creamy texture or velvety smooth in a beer like this. So that's pretty cool. It doesn't really do one thing over the other too much. So that's really good. It's a very sessionable and easygoing one, but you still have to appreciate anything sour to even go into just plain lambics or a goza, guise lambic. So I don't know, it's at least an 89 in my book, but it doesn't really knock down any doors. I think it's pretty standard for what you're getting out of the style. So if you like the style, get the Fun Tradition. No, not brewed in St. Louis, but in Belgium. Cheers.
Nice. That is
nice. Now we pass the torch to Craft Beer Pours and Keep Sippin.
So for us, well, for me, Trish can speak for herself. I thought it was pretty good. It was definitely very sweet, sweeter than I thought it was going to be. Nice tart to it. Definitely an easy drinker. Definitely on a hot summer day, this would be nice. Sours just aren't my personal cup of tea, but this was actually pretty decent. Nice raspberry flavor coming through on this one as well. So for me, I'm not in love with it, and I think that's just because I'm not in love with this style really, but it was a very excellent sour. So I'm going to give it a 91 myself. Trish?
I really don't want to do my own rating, but
I know you hate ratings.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't have to. Just say you can
I don't really like to rate because I'm not on that level of being able to judge and rate a beer. But It was well made. I think I paid $6 to $7 for it. So, I mean, it wasn't cheap. Would I spend that money on it again? I don't think so. If a friend had it at a beer share, sure, I would sip it. It was impressive. I was impressed with the style. So I'm not going to give it a rating, but if it was in front of me, I would sip on it again. But it's not something I'm going to seek out. That's just my personal beer style that, I like and some I don't. So cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. Beer man.
Well, hello again. Yeah, so this is per style. It's actually on point. It's everything that I've read a little bit about this particular brand and these styles as well, and it seems to be pretty on point. I am not disturbed at all drinking this. I would, like I said, I have 3 of these, 4 of these, whatever. Give them to me. I'll get drunk with you with these. It's a very summer spring beer. It's a very good beer to have on a hot day. It's very refreshing. It does have all that sour and puckery bitterness and craziness going on, but it's not disturbing like that of a horse blanket beer or something like that you would get. Sometimes those can get a little bit weird, But off my scale, I do hop things. 5 hops, I'd give this. Man, I'd honestly give this 5 hops, man. This is 2 thumbs up. This is a good beer. It was a $10 beer. I better give it a 5 hop scale. Not a bad beer at all, though. I would drink another one any day. So.
Sure. Yeah. Nice. Now, with mine, like I said, it wasn't what I was expecting because I've only had the one kind of lambic style from Linderman's, the one brewery that does that, and they kind of do their own thing, I think, with back sweetening and stuff. So it was not quite what I was expecting, but I do like saison styles, and this was it was like that little bit of a mix with the saison, with some of like the peach notes and stuff, and also the big oak notes coming through. So as an overall blend, I think I'm going to land this one at a 93 out of 100.
All right.
Not bad. Not a bad score.
Yeah.
It's interesting, BuMpy. Yours has the most oak notes with it, and it's the only one that's actually made in America.
Yeah.
And Americans, we love our oaky barrel-aged beer. So I wonder if Allagash intentionally made it that way to where the oak would kind of shine through a little bit more than, let's say, a traditional lambic from Brussels.
Yeah. It's I can just read the back real quick. Some of the stuff I'll skip over. Basically, this beer marries the delicate flavor of farm fresh peaches with our Cool Ship beer's signature notes of tart, funk, apricot, and oak. The oak should have been first. But yeah, it says it's in line with the traditional Belgian brewing methods. It's aged with whole leaf hops. The wort is then transferred to a large, shallow pan called a Cool Ship, which allows the wort to mingle with wild yeast in souring microbiota, or however you say that, in the main air.
Right.
Yeah. It then ferments, and then they age it in French oak wine barrels for roughly 2 years. So not even just oak barrels, it's oak wine barrels.
Wine barrels, yeah, nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds crazy.
Different than traditional, yeah.
Of course.
I like French wine.
Very noise.
I'm sorry. Allagash Brewing is the name of that one.
Yeah, Allagash out of Portland, Maine. They specialize in Belgian brews.
I've heard of them. Okay, nice. I didn't know they. All right.
Yeah, one of the most famous ones is their Allagash White.
That thing is good.
Oh wow!
Try some of their beers.
You've got somebody actually watching from Germany. You've got Happy Luck says greetings from Germany.
Holy crap!
Hello,
Cool. I mean,
Well, cheers.
Pro.
Cheers.
or Prost and all the other stuff too.
Prost, yeah.
Skull, just in case we have anybody from Iceland. Right?
Oh, what's the Iceland way? How do you say that?
Is it a skull?
Oh,
Skull.
Skull.
Yeah.
right on.
SKOL. Skull.
Isn't that a beer?
Skull. Yeah, it is. Skull.
Isn't
Head.
that
There's like,
Wait a minute.
isn't there like a Scottish one or something, like in the northern part of Scotland? That's Skull Head or something like that, or it's very raisin.
Skull Splitter.
Skull Splitter. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that beer's
That's a good one, actually.
wee heavy.
There's one from Ireland too. I forgot what it was.
Ireland, nice.
Skull, SCOL
Yeah, Skull, SEO. Yeah.
or SKOLL.
So we've made it through the Lambic sours, everybody. So be
Yeah.
happy. The Lambics will not be back around again. They are scratched off the list. We can still have sours. It depends on what we end up coming out with. So what I do want to do is once we shut this down, if the panel, or at least some of the panel, wouldn't mind staying afterwards, so we can just discuss. So we've got to come up with four different styles that we'd want to put into a little poll. So the poll would be hopefully put up tonight. Come up with the 4 styles. We'll leave the links to that in some of our Hangouts groups. I'll also leave the link attached to this video, so when it posts, you'll be able to just go into the description or whatever and find the link for that. The posting will come down right after Wildcard Wednesday, which usually ends sometime around 8:30 or so. Most times 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. So
Eastern
give you a couple
time,
days to get in your whatever you want to see next, or if you want to join the panel and there's a certain beer that you want to taste. So what happens then after we come up with the style, we will then try to see what type of it's not a style within a style, but like if you have a stout, it's not just like all stouts. It's like, okay, we're gonna do like an Irish dry stout, or we're gonna do like one of those imperial stouts, Russian imperial, American imperial. We're gonna come up with different type stuff. And then that will be, I'll put out a video either Wednesday night or Thursday morning with the exact type of beer to look for. So just so everybody that's watching knows how this kind of is going to go, where to look for stuff and how it goes. So
How it goes?
I want to thank the chat for joining in for tonight. I want to thank my awesome panel that I had this week. Like I said, this is it's a new thing. I'm not really used to hosting live stuff, so I'm a little bit sporadic here and there of what I'm doing, and doesn't always run too smooth on my end anyway. So but yeah, I appreciate everybody for joining in on this Lambic Malty Monday, and I'm going to close it out. If there's anybody in the chat that wants to come in, the link I will leave real quick before I do close it out, just in case you want to join up and be in at least the basement. I can rotate people through if you guys have any ideas of what to come up with for our 4 selections. So, anybody else want to discuss anything just while we leave that link up, just in case anybody wants to join? No,
I'm ready to discuss. I'm ready to discuss next week's options here. So.
Okay. Bearman, I'm glad that you can make this because
super fun, man.
Yeah. Hopefully you can join more of them.
Yeah.
It will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know if I said that because that was confusing for the first one. Nobody knew what time it was starting. So it's 8 p.m. on my side of the United States.
That's a bust move at work.
Right.
People are finishing, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all, and cheers. Have a great night.
Adieu.
Ending broadcast. Ending broadcast again.
Ending broadcast now.